Well, the Appalachian Trail has changed again this week. If you're a thru hiker or a section hiker or anybody out there on the trail, these changes could seriously affect your plans. After years of waiting, we have finally gotten some word after my prodding with the ATC on the Lick Creek Bridge washout there in Virginia. We've also got information out there about Harper's Ferry, which is about to become a logistical nightmare. We got fantastic news coming out of Damascus, and we've got all the usual suspects checking in, thru hikers from the trail checking in with their words from the trail, including another Katahdin summit. Let's roll. First up, we got Sis. She checks in and brings us another BOGO like we had last week. Take it away, Sis.
Hey, Ramdino, it's Sis with Hiking on a Prayer. Look who else I found. It's
Forrest.
And
Polchar.
yeah, we're here at the Sterling Inn and we're checking in, just letting you know how much we've enjoyed Maine. What's been your favorite part for us?
All the rivers. I got a pack out fishing rod, so.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. And I've enjoyed swimming in the ponds a little bit. But anyway, we're checking in. We're about 150 miles away from Mama Kay, and we're super excited to summit. I mean, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. But anyway, we just thought we'd check in and let you know that we love it, and we're so thankful for all you do for the hiking community. So you take care and God bless.
Thank you.
So we got Sis. She is just weeks away from finishing up her hike, and she brings us Polchar and Forrest, and they're almost done with their hike as well. So I just love seeing hikers from the channel that know each other from the channel that check in together like that. That is so awesome. Last week we had Retriever and Spotter, and that was pretty cool to hear from them. Matter of fact, this week we've got Spider. She's going to be with us here in just a minute. But next we got Moose Man. He sends in his update.
Hey Ramdino, Moose Man checking in real quick. Stayed at Killington last night at the Mountain Meadow Lodge. Awesome place. Vermont's been great. The Treadway's been great. We're at Thundering Falls right now, pushing into Hanover, New Hampshire. Songbird keeps working and rehabbing, and the plan is to meet up with me in Maine somewhere. So shout out to everybody. Thank you for what you do. Take care.
That's great to hear Songbird's doing good enough with her rehab that she's going to be able to get back out there on trail with him and hopefully finish up this time. And Checklist, he sends in his update.
Hey Ramdino, it's Checklist, and I'm coming to you from the summit of Mount Moosilauke in New Hampshire, where the whites really begin. Hey, a couple of things I want to share with folks is that when you do come into the whites, I think you got to be thinking about cold evenings, especially if you're going to be camping at elevation. I know you probably, if you're like me, you probably send all your cold stuff back home after the Smokies, but it's time to start thinking about, having that extra layer or maybe a warmer sleeping bag, especially if you're planning on camping up at elevations. Thanks for all you do, Ramdino, and I'll see you out here next time.
And as I mentioned before, Spotter, she checks in from southern Vermont.
Hey everybody, hey Ramdino, it is Spotter, and I am at the Glastonbury Fire Tower. Unfortunately, you can't go up it. The bottom stairs are down there. Apparently the last time that you could go up it was about fall of 2022. Then they took the ladder down that fall. And so I was fortunate to come through in 22 and be able to climb up to it then. But I am going to be crossing into Massachusetts tomorrow. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. No trail updates. Everything's been the same since my last update. Vermont's beautiful, and we've had pretty good weather, minus one day. So I'm loving it out here. I'm going to keep going southbound. See you guys next week.
That's awesome to hear, Spotter. Almost another state in the bag. You are burning through those miles. Very good to hear that. And then, of course, we talked about last week, and been groups been checking in, and a hiker's been checking in with his tramley pretty much every week throughout this season, and that's Prepper, and they have summited. Take it away, Prepper.
Hello, Ramdino, from the top of Mount Katahdin. It was an emotional hike up today, but I have made it. There's Knife's Edge over there. This is crazy. 2,198 miles. I did 1,323. 900 miles, the last 900 miles this year, which I started at Springer, did 750, then this 900. So now I have section hiked the Appalachian Trail. But tomorrow I don't count this last 900 miles, and I go back to finish the last 550 miles, and I will be a thru hiker this year, and that'll give me the bonus 1,300 miles left over from 2023, so I'll have 3,500 miles on the trail. Pepper's a badass! There is the knife's edge over there. Ramdino, thanks for all you do. This isn't the end for me. I still got 550 miles, but I haven't hiked the entire Appalachian Trail, but not as a thru hiker yet. Give me another month, a month and a half, and I'll be a 2026 thru hiker. Appalachian Trail 2.0, baby, let's go!
So Prepper, he has completed the trail as a section hiker, and so now he's got about 500 miles plus that he's got to go back and finish to become a thru hiker this year. So he'll have finished the trail twice this year. So that is awesome. Congratulations to them. Out of that group, most of them, I think, were just hiking with Prepper. But we did have Scat Pack, and he is a thru hiker when he finished there with Prepper. So congratulations to Scat Pack. That is awesome, and looking forward to your finishing as a thru hiker. But that is still pretty neat, pretty awesome to finish the trail in its entirety. So congratulations to you, Prepper. So some news we got out there. So mentioned about Lick Creek. So Lick Creek Bridge washed out in 2020, and we've got some sporadic updates since then about what's going to happen to it. Right now it's a ford. Sometimes it's ankle deep. Sometimes it's considerably deeper than that, and sometimes you can't get through it at all. And we mentioned last week that Helene come through, dropped some logs upstream of that, where people were using that to get across, which was not a good idea due to the strainers downstream from those logs, but those logs have been removed. But in any case, did hear back after querying the ATC, and they have indicated that contracts had been let on that. The design was complete, and so they now have a contractor for that. Didn't know when it was going to start, and didn't really provide any information outside of that. By the way, that is at Novo Mile 564. She did indicate the design delay was due to some abutments, one of which was in the floodplain, or maybe both of them were in the floodplain. And of course, abutments are where the bridge abuts into the shore. And so the bridge is going to have to meet all the latest and greatest Forest Service requirements. So that required some little different design. They're trying to put it back as an in-kind, as they say, kind of like it was, but it's probably going to change a little bit. So did a little bit of research on my own, went back and looked at what the typical Forest Service bridge is for that. And so there's two ways it could go. It could go with glue lambs, which are pretty much lumber that's glued together, laminated together, and would make that span. The spans across there is anywhere from 60 to 100 feet. It just depends on where they decide to abut into each shore. And then they also are raising it to prevent it from being washed out from floods in the future, get it a little higher up to let debris go under it rather than piling up against it and then destroying it from the force of the water. So they are raising it. That's going to increase the span a little bit. So glue lambs will do 60 to 100 feet. They could go with a steel bridge. One of the things is it's a very remote section in there, so that's going to increase the value. I did some digging and found out that they have awarded the project. Of course, the project, that doesn't mean that it's going to start right away. Typically, when they reward a project, it's somewhere around 30 to 60 days before they give a notice to proceed. Notice to proceed means you can go ahead and start buying out your materials, getting your subcontractors together, mobilizing, things of that nature, and actually starting the project. It was The contractor is out of Marion, Virginia. That's going to be doing it. That was awarded on July 6th. So 1 to 2 months from now, we should hopefully start seeing some work take place there. So I will keep you posted as I get more information on that. Hopefully the ATC will send that our way and put that on their updates. If not on their updates, I'll continue to do research and keep you posted on that. Of course, that's not going to affect Nobo. They're way north of that, but it may affect Sobo coming through there, particularly getting across that creek. Time they come through there, it could be pretty cold weather. So we'll see about that. So in other bridge news, here comes the issue at Harper's Ferry, and that is that they have been replacing the steps there on the trail north side of the river there at Harper's Ferry. And what that required them to do was build temporary steps, and then they tore down the old steps, and then they rebuilt the new steps. Now they are going to have to tear down the temporary steps, and while they're doing that, it's a construction site. You can't be there, so they're shutting down access to that shoreline directly there. So that means they're going to have to shuttle you again, like they did before when they shut it down, to build the temporary set of steps over there. And so right now the shuttle is only going to run between the C&O Canal Lock number 34 and the Harper's Ferry National Historic Park Visitor Center. So there's a whole section in there of the trail that you're going to miss. Of course, this is a detour that the ATC recognizes. So if that is something that you're concerned about for your 2,000 miler badge or 2,000 miler cert, you'll be able to get that because it is a recognized detour, but you are going to be missing part of the trail. You can backtrack from the visitor center back through the trail where it kind of runs on the outskirts of town there. And then likewise, you could go all the way down to where they stop you on the C&O Canal towpath, right there at the construction, and then backtrack back to lock number 34. Shuttle's going to run 7 days a week from 9 to 6:30, except during inclement weather. So if it's raining, you just SOL. You're going to have to get a shuttle out there. They also indicated that space is limited on the provided shuttle. Pets are not allowed. So if you're hiking with a pet, anything other than a service dog, and I'm assuming they have to legally allow a service animal on there. If you have a service chicken or horse or ostrich or something, they have to allow that on there. It is a hour round trip. And those are the only place it picks up and drops off is at that Lock 34 or there at the visitor center. They did indicate that they are encouraging long distance hikers to come up with their own shuttle. So through hikers, you're just SOL. Day and weekend hikers and visitors are encouraged to find other hikes during the closure. So who does that leave? I guess section hikers maybe, but I mean, if they're encouraging everybody to find their own shuttle, then who are they trying to service there? Are they just servicing bikers? I don't know how that's working. But in any case, they are saying, here's a shuttle, but we encourage you to get your own ride. So we'll see how that goes. That's supposed to last several weeks while they are taking those down and then fixing it up to where the permanent steps that are now in place can be used. So I'll keep you posted as I get more information on that. Hopefully the ATC will update their site as well. Limestone Spring Shelter, it remains closed. So that was up there in Connecticut where they had some damage from storms that came through. Those blowdowns and everything have been cleared from the trail. However, that shelter there, Limestone Spring Shelter, still have some trees and dead man's up in the trees that are causing issues there, and so you need to be aware of that and not camp there. That includes the privy and just the whole shelter area in general. And then the yearly update we have of the trail near the Verney Swamp in New Jersey, that is flooded over again with the eager beavers that are up there that create a problem. That's Nobo mile 1,346. And the New Jersey, New York Trail Conference has they've installed a short detour around that takes you on connected to Mount Salem Road, which is only about a third of a mile. Looking at what a trail maintainer posted on the website for New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, he seems to think that's going to become permanent. They've kind of permanently blazed it, and it's been flooding every year. They're not going to remove the beavers, and so that's getting to be a thing. And so it looks like that's going to become a permanent situation more than likely. I have not heard that from any source like the ATC or anything like that. That was just the opinion of what I presume was a trail maintainer up there on the New Jersey or New York, New Jersey Trail Conference Facebook page. And under really great, almost miraculous news, the Forest Service announced that the full Virginia Creeper Trail, that's that's not only the part that's open now from Damascus to Abington, but from White Top to Damascus, which is the rest of the trail that was damaged with all the flooding from Helene and all the bridges, that is going to be reopening on March 31st, 2027. So the contractor said he could get it done in a year, and he pretty much has. Right now, they're 13 weeks ahead of schedule. So to me, that is miraculous. The kind of damage they had there, the kind of rebuilding, not only the trail, but the rebuilding of the bridges. They're not going to be the trestle bridges like we all know and love before, because that was not the fastest way to get in there. They do look like they're going to be attractive bridges in there. There's a couple of shots here of them putting those in and installing those. But the main thing is it's going to be open. Of course, once the Creeper Trail opens, the part of the AT that shares the treadway with the Creeper will be open as well, and you will no longer have to take the detour. As a matter of fact, the detour will no longer be part of the Appalachian Trail, and you'll be required to take the AT that shares the treadway with the Creeper Trail. So that is really awesome. They're probably going to get done, but actually before then, but they want it to settle in over the winter, as they say, so that they want it to be good and hard and compacted when it comes ready for hikers and bikers in the spring. So I can't wait to see that. I'm sure that's going to be a big hullabaloo up there in Damascus. Of course, that has been the lifeblood of Damascus, the Creeper Trail, and so much of their people depend on the income coming in from the Creeper Trail up there. So that's awesome to see that coming back, and of course for us hikers as well, that is awesome to see that. Will be back in no time up there. And quite honestly, they are building that thing like a, excuse my French, brick shithouse. They are building it back stronger than it was before. They've got these concrete abutments. They're driving pilings in the ground. And here's a shot of pilings being driven next to this house. Typically, pilings, when they drive them in the ground, they really shake the ground around them. I don't know how the people in this house are handling that. Every time that pneumatic hammer comes down, that pile driver comes down and drives that in. And pile drivers now, the way they work, there's actually an explosion. So as it comes down, they use just diesel fuel, so it's not a very powerful. But when that piston, a lot of times, depending on the type of pile driver, but when it hits that, it has a combustion, like a tiny explosion, that not only is the weight of that pile driver, but that explosion drives that piling in the ground more. So I don't know how the people in the house there are handling that when they're driving these pilings right next to that house, but appreciate them putting up with that. So, but that's awesome to hear that the Creeper Trail is coming back that quick. I would have never guessed that they could have got it done that fast. So the contractor has done a great job in meeting his deadline. And actually, as I said, he's in front of his deadline. He's going to be finishing it early. I also want to mention Woods Hole Weekend. So that's coming up here. Of course, that's not until September, but we filled a couple spots last week. So they opened a few more, maybe only 2 more spots. So if you're interested, you need to call up there at Woods Hole. Let them know you want to get signed up for that thru-hiker training. And they will probably close it out after these the last 2 spots come in there. So that's going to be a great time training. I'll be there. I'm not a thru-hiker, but I know a lot of thru-hikers have been exposed. A lot of thru-hikers hiked probably 2/3 of the trail. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of thru-hikers there that are going to be training you and give you not only classes, but practical out in the field. We'll be camping out. We'll be doing things that you're going to be doing on the trail. Got a surprise coming up there. Not even going to allude to it. Not going to spoil that surprise. But there'll be the opportunity for you to ask questions. We'll be doing pack shakedowns, all that neat stuff. So it's going to be a good time. Just being at Woods Hole's a good time. So highly recommend you signing up for that if you have any inkling that you want to be a thru hiker in 2027 or beyond. Keep looking for my Camino vids. I'm getting close to the end of having those done. I think I'm on number 15. So that means I've got about 10 more videos because it took me 25 days to walk the Camino and do that hike. But that was a special hike. Hope I've got a lot of comments from people that are really enjoying that, particularly people that have done it before. And I've greatly enjoyed your comments that people have sent into me on those Camino hikes. It's just a really special thing. And I look back on it and I can't wait to do another one. I can't wait to do that one again. And then, of course, I'll be heading up to New York in August, just a couple weeks from now, and be doing New York and Connecticut up there. Folks, that's all I got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we hope to see you out here.